This Sunday's game between the Eels and the West Tigers is themed Stay Kind, to advocate against bullying and suicide in our community. The match is dedicated to Stuart Kelly, who committed suicide almost 1 year ago today. At only 18 years of age, just years after losing his brother to a senseless, alcohol-fuelled one-punch attack. The Kelly family are truly inspirational. They hope to raise awareness so that others never have to experience what they've gone through. Together, we are hoping to bring the conversation of suicide out of the shadows and into the light so that we can openly address it. For many years, the NRL and the Footy show have strived to make a difference to a big issue that impacts our game and our communities: mental health and suicide. We've covered stories on the State of Mind campaign, the Sharks Tackle Bullying initiative, and stories of attempted suicide by some of rugby league's biggest names. Players like Rennie Matua, Preston Campbell and Andrew Fafita. On average, there are 8 suicides a day in Australia. For the most part, it's young men. It's a reality seen all too often in the rugby league community. Both the Eels and the West Tigers have lost players to suicide in recent years. This is why the NRL is holding a Stay Kind match to fight against bullying and suicide, dedicated to Stuart Kelly, using his initials, SK. At just 14 years of age, Stuart Kelly lost his brother Thomas to an alcohol-fuelled one-punch attack. At 16, Stuart campaigned for lockout laws and one-punch legislation to help others avoid the same fate as his brother.
Change to stop the growing epidemic of drug and alcohol abuse and misuse, and to say no to senseless violence. Premier, will you make this promise tonight?
Unfortunately, this campaigning also led to Stuart becoming the victim of bullying. The pressure took its toll, and seeing no way out, at just 18 years of age, Stuart made the devastating choice to take his own life. Now, Stuart's family have a very important message for other families, and we have a wonderful opportunity to share it through rugby league with this Sunday's Stay Kind game. This will see Stuart's favourite team, the Eels, along with the West Tigers, run out in honour of Stuart in the fight against bullying and suicide.
Ralph, Kathy and Maddie, thank you so very much for sitting down with us. I think you're the true example of a family that has been through horrific tragedy but is using it to create a greater good, and it's so inspirational, and we're very grateful that you're sitting down with us. First of all, talk to me about this match on Sunday. I'll start with you, Ralph. Such an incredible occasion.
The NRL came to us and said, we'd like to hold a Remembrance Day for Stuart, if your family would like to do that. And I came home and spoke to Kathy and Maddie about it and said, look, I don't think we should have a game for Stuart because it would mean so much for our family but really nothing in the community. So I went back to the NRL and said, would you consider having a Stay Kind Day, which is a value about being nice to people in the community, loving people, taking them for who they are, not bullying, not being these keyboard warriors who sit behind their computers and just send awful messages to people and have no idea about how it affects the people on the other end. So the Stay Kind Day, the purpose, which is to prevent youth suicide and suicide in general in our communities.
Talk to me about the significance of the two teams playing. Stuart was an Eels fan, you're a Tigers fan.
Yeah, Stu and I used to go to the games all the time. He was a true supporter. He'd walk out in a filthy mood going, surely we've got to win one day. And, it was just a banter between a dad and a son.
Talk to me about Stuart. First of all, Maddie, I'll come to you, the kind of brother that he was, the kind of young man that he was.
Yeah, after Thomas died, we just became so close, and he was, we were both each other's biggest supporters, and I wanted to see him succeed and he wanted to see me succeed. We still had that sibling banter, and I guess we weren't the lovey, hugging siblings, but we knew how much we cared about each other. And being the youngest in the family, I feel like he was our light. He was the funny one, and he always tried to make everything better and knew how to make us all laugh, which was amazing.
For someone so young, he was so passionate about championing for change, given what had happened to his brother.
Oh, he was 16 when he spoke on the steps of the Supreme Court, and 17 when he spoke at a dinner function attended by over 750 people. And How he found the strength to do that must have been from Thomas.
And that resulted in unwanted attention, in bullying.
It was a difficult time because the New South Wales lockout laws were being reviewed in February, which coincided with him starting at the college. 18-year-olds to 25-year-olds with the lockout laws, they loathe it. And so he was a prime victim for anybody who thought they could target him.
Talk to me about the change in him that you saw his first day at university, which should have been the most exciting really of his life so far, didn't turn out that way.
No, I think he was apprehensive going off to university, and definitely when we picked him up the following day, which wasn't, we hadn't planned to do that, but he rang us and he got in our car and he just started to sob, and we could not get anything out of him, so we drove him home to bring him somewhere safe. And he was a different. He was still Stuart, but something had happened that broke him. I don't know what it was.
When Stuart came out of his room after about 8 weeks, he said to us, "Look, I need to start my life again. I want to go to London and just start afresh. I don't want to go to university in this country." And I said to him one day, "But you'll come back if we send you overseas to London. You'll come back." And he said, "No, I don't want to come back."
How did that make you feel?
Terrible.
It was just. I think he just saw it was impossible for him to be here.
I mean, the day before he took his life, I spent the whole day with him and he seemed fine. I know after Thomas died, losing another child, it just wasn't an option.
What did you do with him that last day?
We weren't really doing anything. I mean, we were just sitting on the couch here and he was playing PlayStation and being annoying to me, and I was trying to study, and we were just hanging out, and it seemed completely normal, and I mean, it was really nice last day together.
When it comes to making that final decision to take your life, I think that particularly with our young people, they can't see tomorrow. They can't see that in 6 months' time, things could be changed. As mature as he was, he didn't have the maturity to understand that life was going to get better.
Were you angry?
I think we were, yeah. We were angry. The emotions are just going wild. Why? You look back, how could you have made a difference?
Angry with ourselves as well, because I feel like we failed him. But I think I try not to ever feel angry with him. The only time I've ever felt a little bit of anger is I've just thought, how could he do this to Maddie? How could he leave her here by herself? Because we won't always be here. But I don't think that is something that people who take their lives think about. And you see people write things like, what a selfish thing to do and all that. It's not selfish, they can't. Nobody who has not been in that position could ever understand the pain, so how can we judge people?
We need to talk about mental health in young people and suicide.
I think we need to talk about it, but I think I've spent the last 9 months trying to research why Stuart would have taken his life, because he didn't leave us any messages. He was, as we've said, he was fine. We thought he was okay. And I think what we've kind of boiled it down to is listening. Listening saves lives. It's about parents listening to their kids, spending that time to listen.
Do you derive any comfort at all in knowing that Thomas and Stu are together somewhere?
Yeah, I do. And I think, just, I don't know how religious I am, and I certainly can't speak for these two, but I do think that there has to be another chance to see them. And just the fact that they're together again, best mates, I think that I certainly didn't want to see Stuart lose his life, but if he's anywhere, I'd like him to be with Tom.
be stopped!
Let's look at this Sunday and the difference that you're all trying to make.
That in Australia we have very strong family values, and we also have a culture of mateship, but something's not working, and therefore we have to change what our values are to look after people. Come along to this game, stand up, stand together, stand as one. Let's make a difference.
If everybody out there that's got that free afternoon could come along and show their support in the day, it's showing support not to us, but it's showing support to what the message is, and that's just about being kind to one another. So I think that'd be incredible.
Best of luck this Sunday. If I know one thing about rugby league and its community is that they support their own. Lots of love, and thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thanks, Erin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah,
That was a wonderful, wonderful story.
I think it's
I
one
mean-
you don't ever want to have to tell. Even now, it's awful.
The family, they're so brave to be talking about it even a year down the track.
They are incredible. They are. No family should ever have to go through that. But I tell you what, they're incredible. Now, we would like to acknowledge the hard work and the commitment from the NRL, the Eels and the West Tigers in their support of the Stay Kind match. It's so critical to advancing this message, and we are so grateful for all of the help in trying to reduce violence and youth suicide. So to donate, SMS the word KIND to 0437 371 371, or for more information go to staykind.org.au. And remember, anyone seeking emergency help with any mental health issues or needing crisis support should always contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. And Big Man, it was actually lovely there after the interview. Dad came over and pulled out his phone and showed me a photo of you and Stuart, and he said it was at this big event. You'll remember it. There was all these celebrities there. He didn't want a photo with anyone else except for you.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I know Mike Baird took the photo.
There you go.
And I do remember the night. It was a fantastic night. He spoke beautifully. But you could just see a sadness in his eyes. He lost his brother, and no one deserves to go through that. And this family has been through so much. It's just awful.
It is awful. And she made a really good point that kids, when they're young, don't understand that actually things pass, and this too shall pass, and in 6 months it won't be as bad as what it feels like now. But
Tomorrow's going to change. Tomorrow
100%.
could be
Yeah, but anyway, it's
and to
wonderful.
all look after your family members, look after your friends. I mean, the thing about suicide is that no one knows when it's going to happen. No one, you just don't know.
Sometimes there's no signs, are there?
So look after your friends and your family, that's for sure.
Yeah, and a really special game for you to be involved in as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great initiative by us in Parramatta to raise awareness on bullying and suicide. So hopefully it's a big game on Sunday, and hopefully get a lot of support for the cause.
Okay, fingers crossed. We are trying to fill ANZ Stadium, so fingers crossed.